Alrighty. Hey there, good afternoon, everybody, or good evening, wherever you're from. We're about to do a live stream here. And guess my phone was in that shot. I was just trying to see what was actually on it. But here we are. We're doing a live stream now. And there you go. This little guy right here is awesome. Lovely little cat. Lovely little cat. And this live stream is a bit of a satire title. How to make art even when you're not creative. Because we all know that everybody is creative. Everybody is creative. Everybody gets inspiration. Everybody gets a desire to do something. You might not be creative in business, or you might not be creative in music, but everybody's creative somewhere. And that is the message of the day. But that said, here's the other thing. Let's say you really don't feel creative, but you want to make art. What can you do? The simple answer that artists have been doing for centuries now is copying. Just copying what you see. Since some of the earliest artists of the 1700s or the 1500s or the 1400s, since some of the earliest artists have been making art, the majority of some of the great artists have really just copied things. They've copied great masters. They've done master copies. They've taken other people's ideas and copied them or did something with them. And at the end of the day, if we really think about it, right, what was Facebook? You know, just a reiteration of MySpace. What was Google? Just an improved version of Yahoo or Ask Jeeves, if any of you know what all that is. What is an iPod? But some of the devices that we already had that were playing music, MP3 players. So even if you're not creative, you feel like you can't come up with a totally wonderful idea on your own, you can always just copy. And you can make something absolutely wonderful. So, a bit of a satire post or a satire live stream or satire titled live stream, because it is of my belief that everybody is creative enough to come up with some cool stuff. However, if for whatever reason you feel like you really need to open up your creativity, then all you need to do is just copy some ideas. Copy, study, interpret, things like that. So that's what you do. Here's what I'm doing. I'm doing this live stream based on a drawing live stream here. So we're just basically copying this. So I did this the other day, and honestly, I wasn't too excited about it. I wasn't too excited about it, but I just love the idea of being able to pull up something nice like this and just copying it. And of course, I tend to be the type of person that loves to give credit when credit is due. But it is wonderful to just copy. That was probably the hardest thing for me when I first got into art studies. I was studying concept art. And with concept art, what I found was coming from a science background, you know, school background, academic background, you're constantly taught, don't copy, cite your sources, plagiarism is bad. And yes, if you steal someone's idea and then you try to claim it is your own, then yes, that's bad. But I think in general, as far as art is concerned, you know, if you ethically do master's studies or copies of other people's work, particularly, you know, people that have been gone and their work is in a public domain, you know, you're probably good. But that is ultimately my question, my answer. You know, what do you do if you're not feeling creative? And I have this feeling sometimes, and ultimately I do projects that I can just repeat over and over and over and over. Similar to this. These are projects that I could just repeat for days on end. They're already available, and I can just study these. So here we go. Adding in some shading here. Adding some more shadow around here. And there we go. But there's this great book. There's this great book that I listened to on audio. It was called The Creative Act. It's by Rick Rubin, who's a very well-known music producer. And what's amazing about it is, you know, such a credible resource, right? Someone who helped produce incredibly successful musical groups. And here he is. He committed to writing a book called The Creative Act, which ultimately is a book that explains why everybody is creative in their own way. And it's a wonderful, wonderful book, fantastic read. You know, creativity, according to Rick Rubin, is within everybody, right? Everything. I mean, by his definition, and you should definitely check out the book yourself, but by his definition, what's really powerful about Rick Rubin's definition of, is that everything is a creative act. Everything that you do, every idea that you come up with, every plan that you create, everything can be a creative act. And that's such a powerful, powerful concept that I picked up from that book. The Creative Act by Rick Rubin. It's got like a picture of a circle. I think the circle has some meaning. But at the end of the day, or at the beginning of the day, or at the top of the day, I say end of the day, so I say end of the day a lot, so I'm trying to switch it up. But at whatever part of the day, you know, Rick Rubin is a credible resource. And, you know, it's just one person's opinion. So, you know, if you truly, what you believe will manifest itself into your reality. So even if you truly don't feel creative, you know, the idea of copying something is in itself a creative act. Now, I'm not saying you should steal. I'm not saying that artists should steal or not give credit. That is totally far, far from what I'm saying. But what I am saying is that, you know, everybody is creative, and that we can all learn from the creative words, the words on creativity of Rick Rubin. So just sketching in some, I'm not really happy with this foot, so I'm just doing like a quick job to finish it up. Just finishing up right here. Just finishing it up. Not trying to overdo it or anything. because I will have to do this again in just a few moments. And there we go. We're probably just going to leave this one like this. But what I'm doing right now, for those of you wondering, I'm going through what's called the Charles Bargue plates. And basically these are called these are basically images of casts, which is traditionally how people learn how to draw. And I'm just going through this book, and the reason why I'm going through this book is I had this mild obsession with Vincent van Gogh, and through my research of all the things that he studied, all the his favorite artists that he admired. One thing that I found that he did was he studied Charles Bargue's, these plates specifically, not from this book, this is a reprint, but he studied Charles Bargue's plates 3 times. He supposedly went through the original course 3 times. So, as a challenge to myself, as a creative activity to myself, and again, creativity in the sense of, I'm not really making anything up, I'm just copying. I find that this is incredibly helpful in training your drawing muscles. So let's see where this foot is at. Here we go. Let's see, right over here. We're gonna pop that right on top of there. Let's go see up close how this foot is looking. Yeah, not bad, not bad. We're definitely gonna be doing it again. We're gonna do it again. We're gonna do this big one now. So, for whatever reason, this book prints everything twice. You do a small version, and then you do a big version. And you know what? I am a glutton for punishment, or not a glutton for punishment. I actually enjoy this, but I am a glutton for doing things the hard way, or the most academic way. Actually, I don't really know a word for what I'm trying to say. It's not punishment. It's not academic. I don't even know if this is how it was printed in the original book. So, part of me has chosen to follow this book, this specific version of the book, pretty strictly. So I'm going through it. If it repeats the same thing but bigger, I'm redoing it bigger. So that's what I'm doing. I'm doing every piece as many times as they repeat it here. And here we go. So, a random pen fell out the bottom right there. And I hope you're all doing fantastic here. We're going to go ahead and just keep moving. So let's see. We got these pencils right here. I love using all of the materials that I have within my grasp. I love using all of the materials I have within my grasp. So I try my best to try to use as much of them as I can. And this is a blue pen that I use for the basic sketch of things. I use this for the initial sketch of things. So let's start like this. We're going to start right here. I'm going to go, it's a little bit less than horizontal. And then here we go. Practice, 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 everybody. Practice drawing. Practice makes nice. So here we go. And here we go. We're going to bring a line down here. And just finding a line. Can you all see the top of this? Yes, we can see the top of that. So here we go. We're going to come around like this. Come down like here. You know what? Not angled in enough. Not angled in enough. But you know what? Instead of that, let's actually do this line right here. So all I'm doing is trying to find like a good proportion where this ends. And usually I spend a lot of time. I'm not gonna do exactly. So the actual way of doing this is ideally I would rip out this paper, tape it down, and then put this paper, tape it right next to it, and just go 1-to-1 exactly across. That's the right way to do it. If you go to someone who's a hardcore Bargue teacher, that's probably how they'll have you do it. They might even have you do a grid. They might even have you do a grid like this if you really need to. But I choose not to do any of that. I really like the idea of training my own visual acuity. And let's go like this. And we're going to come down right here. We're going to come right down here. Need some?
No.
Oh, okay.
Just observing.
Come down right here.
So just like Scout, he's observing.
And then a little bit further down. And we're going to find this, curve this around. And this is, if I drew a line straight down from there, this would not go past that. So if I drew a straight line from there, I have to make it like that. And then here we go.
Hello, yes, I'm going to Technico.
And this is just one way to study drawing. There's so many ways. You know, some people, there's like, especially this was designed in 1850 when, you know, people, the art world was still pretty backward, right? Backward in the sense that, you know, artists weren't really allowed to have an opinion. They weren't really allowed to give an expressive freedom. They were just supposed to, like, you know, recopy what the master of the school wanted them to copy, what the church or the royal family or whatever wanted them to make. And that was their job as artists. So, you know, the study of this book is going to teach you, if anything, something worth studying is the aesthetic. It's the aesthetic that you can really pick up that's valuable. Not so much like, you know, I feel artists should definitely have expression. I feel like the old school way of teaching art is super backward.
Sorry.
Is super backward, and you know, this, like, if you have to really want to like learn how to do this aesthetic, and at the end of the day, the ultimate grade, if you want to grade yourself, if you're self-motivated, is how closely can you get this to look like that, right? That's it. Really simple, really straightforward. And let me see. Bam, bam. And let's go down. We're gonna be about the same. Let's see, right here. I'm gonna shorten that a little bit, and we're gonna go down a little bit. And we're gonna go down. Reduce the size of that. That should be about the same length as that. Let's see. So this will be, if I was to really measure this, 1, 2, yeah, less than 2, double. So this is less than double. So just slightly less than double. So that might be a little long. That's okay. So let's go bring this down right here. This section, this little corner right here. I'm just estimating the angles. You know, nothing overly precise. I'm not like tracing or anything. You probably could trace this, but at the end of the day, what's another thing that I could say other than the end of the day? I feel like I say that way too much. At the end of the day, huh?
Yes, you say it way too much.
At the end of the day, what is that? What is the meaning of the phrase "at the end of the day"? Ultimately, I feel like I'm going to overuse the word ultimately from here on, but let's use the word ultimately instead of end of the day. Ultimately, your goal should be just to, you know, enjoy the work. Enjoy yourself, enjoy the creative act. And I'm using the word creative act because Rick Rubin wrote a book titled The Creative Act, and it's a really good book. And here we go. That's just slightly further out. Let me see. If I go straight line down, it should not go further than that. So I might need to just bring this in just a little bit. Somewhere between here and there. That's a really like tight. That's a really small gap. But we did it. We have found our gap. And let's bring this one straight across. Actually, you know what? This is going to be a tight angle right here. That's going to go to the midline, like 1/3 right here. And then just bring this across. The Bowinator. What is up, Bowinator? Why is this double chat? How do I get rid of this double chat here? I think I have two. Oh, I guess I don't need the double chat. Yo! Corey and the Bowinator. What a good name, Bowen. That's a great name. You could, dude, when it comes to names, you should really, like, if you like the name Bowinator, if that, like, suits your personality, you should totally try to claim the domain names on that right now. Because, you know, when it comes to trying to come up with, like, an artist name or, like, a brand, it's really hard to find names that are not taken yet. And, let alone coming up with one. So if you're able to, like, if you feel like you could build a brand off the word Bowinator, which I think you could, you should definitely try and get either the domain name or, like, get all the Instagram handles on every single platform you can, because that's a great Great title you got there, dude. So, Corey, Omizu, Polite Water. What's up? Hope you're all doing fantastic. So, yes, I missed a day yesterday. I've been feeling not myself lately. And I think it's because my fitness, my exercising has been starting to dwindle. I noticed that I was putting on weight. And, you know, call it self-image, whatever. But, you know, I've been putting some more time. Yeah, and just yesterday and today, I've been putting some extra time in the gym. And finally got back into running. I'm going to be training for my 3rd marathon. Saying that here now, I feel like, you know, it can be scary to commit to something like saying that you're going to do a marathon if you don't. I don't actually like running. I just do it as a personal challenge. But, yeah, like I feel like running got me into the best fitness that I've ever been in. You know, my body has never really felt healthier than when I was running. And, you know, I'm not trying to give fitness or medical advice. You should always talk to your doctor first before trying anything. But, you know, I was somewhat feeling down about myself because I hadn't really been exercising as much, like not having running. Like I would go to the gym. I've always gone to the gym, but like, you know, just something's been feeling off. And anytime something feels off, I can almost attribute it to slacking off in my exercising. Slacking off, the slackingness.
You went to SNU for business. Come on, business at SNU. And he's not just handsome too. He married yet? Not yet. He's single.
So, anyway, took a break from this yesterday. I needed to like refresh and get some running in. You know, it actually takes me a lot to convince myself to get out and run. But I feel like it's really good for my personal mental attitude. And I guess why am I explaining why I didn't draw yesterday, why I didn't do a live stream? I don't think I really need to, do I? I don't need to. Y'all don't expect an explanation from me, do you? Anyway, those of you that are curious about my life, I am totally open to sharing. So anyway, hope you're all doing fantastic. Anyone got any updates to share? Anyone got any art to share? I'm happy to share it. Oh, by the way, Corey, Omizu, I deleted my Discord because my phone, quite frankly, my phone cannot handle Discord. All right? My phone, by the way, here's something cool. So looking at this straight line, right? If I just compare these two lines, I didn't do anything except for just trying to like match all of these lines up. And look, it's pretty much exact. Just from using my visual cue. I think maybe the foot's a little bit more narrow. In some parts, but overall, I think I didn't even notice this until now, but this is pretty accurate. I think this might be a little bit lengthwise, a little bit longer than this, but I think we're good to go. So that's what we're working on. But back to the original thesis of this live stream. The live stream being what to do, what kind of art to make, even if you're not feeling creative. And the answer to that is just copy. Just copy things. You know, copy ethically. Source your materials from the public domain. Source them ethically. Give credit when credit is due. But, you know, since the beginning of the world of fine art, which, you know, I might even credit to like around the Renaissance. I mean, obviously art was from since 10, 15,000 years ago when they found the first caveman painting. But if you really think about the Renaissance as the full transformation of art, You know, if we think about that, it's interesting to think that, you know, artists weren't really like, they were telling stories that the organizations that were in power, aka royalty, aka the biggest bankers, aka the generals of armies, aka, you know, the churches, the whatever massive powerful organization, they all wanted art, and your job was to do the art and basically learn from the master, aka whatever school you went to, whatever school you studied at, you were supposed to learn from the master of the school. And you know, that's how art was. Just copying. But now, you know, of course, we all have the freedom of expression. The Impressionists in the 1800s have taken us a long way, have brought us to where we are today. They brought us up to Jackson Pollock and beyond, to the banana and beyond, the banana on a wall, duct tape to a wall and beyond. And for those people, we could be grateful because, you know, honestly, I don't think I would have succeeded or even been given the opportunity or been able to claim the opportunity to be an artist back in 1700. You know, those schools were reserved for people that were like, you know, able to get into the most prestigious art school of Milan or the most prestigious school of the great empire of Britain, right? Art was reserved for the most elite people that could get into these programs. And, you know, we got to be grateful that art is not at that point. Art is for everybody. Who wrote that book? Who said that? Keith Haring said art is for everybody. So there we go. I'm going to quote Keith Haring. I don't know if that is actually, you know, how I'm interpreting it, that art should be made by everybody or could be made by everybody or shouldn't be, like, you know, only exclusive to the most elite in the world. I don't know if that's how he was interpreting it, but that's how I'm going to interpret it. So Keith, if you have an issue with my interpreting, please give me a plug on my Instagram channel at Huzzah Creative, Huzza Creative. Keith Haring, if you're watching this, I am challenging your idea. And is Keith Haring still alive? I don't know if Keith Haring's still alive, but if Keith Haring somehow comes across this, you can clarify your meaning. So anyway, you know, isn't it funny how you could just say messages like this and throw it into the air? And, you know, who would be able to see this? Who would witness this live stream here? Who's watching? You know, I get anywhere between 50 to 2,000 viewers per my live streams. If I have it vertical, I get like anywhere between 500 plus. But if I do it horizontal, I get usually, you know, 100 or less. But I find it so interesting because, you know, this adds up. Out of my hundreds of streams, that means thousands and thousands of people have popped on through. And of course, you know, the same people, some of the same people probably pop in multiple times. But I just find it so fascinating that, you know, thousands of people have possibly heard like a random idea from me and just ran with it, you know, just ran with it. I find that really interesting. But let's see here. We're going to go here. We're going to go like this. Like, wouldn't it be cool if we could know, like, who these thousands of visitors are? I know some people just like to kind of, like, pop in and lurk and just chill. And maybe some people don't speak English, and I speak English very quickly, and that's understandable. It's not a criticism or anything, but at the same time, you know, I think it's important to just, you know, be conscious. It's just so fascinating to me that you know, together we are reaching. Oh, he died of. Well, rest in peace, Keith. Why did I think he was still alive? I could have swore. I guess in LA he was doing a show in the past couple years, and I probably got the impression that he was at these events or something. But anyway. Obviously, that is not the case. But absolutely wonderful that we have. I guess I could have looked that up, but anyway. I'm sure there's someone out there listening. They're like, this guy thought Keith Haring was alive. What an idiot. He doesn't know art. He's a doofus. Anyway, that's just my critical mind criticizing myself. You know, I read a lot of comments. Whenever I watch a video, whenever I watch like a YouTube video or something, I rarely ever care about the video. I care more about the comments. And it's just so interesting to see how critical some people are. Although, you know, most people's comments are pretty funny when they're a bit of a diss. Really doesn't matter how F you do or not. How F you do. How the F you doing? Alright, so let's go like this. What the heck? There's so much change in this piece right here. It really doesn't matter if I do or not. Yeah, exactly. It doesn't really matter if I know whether he's alive or not. Yeah. But yes. So here we go. We're gonna go. This part right here is giving me troubles. I think this toe needs to be a little bit more accurate. So let's go. How's this gonna go? This is gonna curve up like so. My goodness. Rest in peace, Keith Haring. Since we're talking about him, I guess you know, spiritually wondering, what did Keith Haring mean by that quote? Very powerful. Is an artist really an artist if they've never been arrested? I feel like every artist should get arrested at least once. Not for like a horrible crime, but something like, you know, something that like puts you in jail for like 2 days and you have to like pay $1,000 for bail, right? Like painting a beautiful, meaningful quote on somebody's window. You know, nothing like offensive at all, right? Just something beautiful, you know? And then you do it in front of a police officer who arrests you. That way you get some street cred. There we go. I do not, if you're watching this and you're under the age of 18, please, I hope you turned it off. Do not listen to me. You should be a good person and don't get arrested. But if you're over the age of 18, I'm sure you can appreciate my theory that all artists should get arrested at least once, right? Really? You think they should serve a year? Yes, artists should all go to prison for 1 year. That sounds like we would lose a lot of great artists. Or, you know what? Like, an artist can always go to jail for an artist could definitely go to jail for like 2 days and just say that they went for like a month. And you know, you can, when the time comes, when they finally get called out on how much time they actually spent, all the damage will have already been done. All of their efforts to promote their jail time will have already, like, it'll be really difficult for someone really has to dislike the artist to try to disprove it, you know? Like, they got to spend a lot of time, and I feel like people won't spend that time to do the research. And then they've already gotten the credibility in the game. So, I mean, if you're already gone to jail, you might as well lie, right? Gosh, I'm such a bad influence on this live stream. People, please do not take my words seriously. Just don't take my words seriously. I'm just saying dumb things right now. Don't go to jail. It's bad for you, unless you're an artist. If you're an artist, going to jail is okay. Just kidding. Again. I need like a I need to do a set on a comedy stage so people know that I'm joking, but also serious at the same time. But also, if you watch my live stream long enough, you know, hopefully you realize that most of what I say is BS. Just me saying stuff for hours at a time, which sometimes is good and sometimes it's bad. So, anyway, you know a fellow who served 7 years and came out a very good painter. A lot of good artists. Yeah, I mean, I guess they got 7 years. They might as well, you know, they get good at stuff. If you use your time wisely, you know, you can use your time wisely in prison, from my understanding. I mean, you know I worked for Jordan Belfort, the real Wolf of Wall Street. I worked for him for a year. This was after he got out of prison. So this was after he paid for his crimes and he was released and he had a legitimate business. So the real Wolf of Wall Street, I worked for him for like a year. And, you know, he came out, he had a book. He was Leonardo DiCaprio. He, you know, became really successful, makes plenty of money. And even though he owes a lot of money, he makes plenty of money. And, you know, there's not much else to say, right? Like, was it ethical what he did? Was it whatever? That's not my place to, you know, I'm not here. he already paid for his crimes, so whatever. The judge and the jury felt that whatever. Look at this cat. Look at this cat just puking on a table.
Is he puking?
Look at him. He just pukes on a table.
Puking on your sister.
Cat's puking on a table is so funny. Oh.
Puking on Pookie.
Should I like go pat him on the back or something?
Yes.
I don't know. Is it bad that I find that amusing? It's I'm not laughing at him, but it's like his face looks funny. Oh.
Hey,
What did he eat today?
just what was in the bowls?
I swear I'm concerned, but I'm also
Huh. So gross. God, it's disgusting. Now Pookie's gonna smell like puke.
Scout, you okay?
Puke?
Scout, look at me.
Look it. I would give you a toss.
Hey, bud.
I don't think you can-
This thing is like
I know, they destroyed it. As soon as you get your stuff off of here, I'll take it off. And
okay.
throw it away.
All right.
I was thinking that earlier.
You're right. Like when a cat pukes, they remind me of those little squeeze toys where their eyes pop out.
Oh,
Scout, I swear I'm not laughing at you.
you okay,
I'm just laughing
Nancy? I'm sorry.
at the idea that you gotta stop eating out of the garbage can, bro. I don't know what's actually causing him to puke. Because his sister doesn't puke and they eat the same exact foods. I haven't seen her puke once.
No, I don't think she pukes. He does and does.
Alright, this is gonna go right here. And let's go down. Yeah, when I worked for Jordan Belfort, I mean, you know, he paid for his crimes. The FBI even came into the office one day, the guy who caught him, and they did a podcast together. That was pretty interesting to see. And here we go. Yeah, he's definitely quite a mercurial personality, but you know, he didn't seem like a bad person. I mean, obviously he did bad things, or his company did bad things back in the day, but you know, I can't say that my experience working for Jordan Belfort was a bad one. So long, you know, as he did legitimate, you know, it was a legitimate business, right? Can you imagine? So you know how everybody, you know how like they did the at one point there was something called like the Tide Pod challenge. Don't do that. That's even a dumber idea than going to jail. But the Tide Pod challenge is even dumber than going to jail, okay? So don't do that. But can you imagine if somebody created a challenge like, what's the most innocent thing you go to jail for? Like, what if somebody started a go to jail challenge? YouTube, why does YouTube have things like that, huh? Why did those things go viral on YouTube? Tide Pod challenge, like, that's ridiculous that ever became a thing. That is so absurd to me. And honestly, I don't actually believe that anybody really did it. I feel like everybody was just pretending to do it. Well, maybe there were some people that like fell for it, but there were so many people that were like pretended to do it and were able to trick the people that didn't realize how bad of an idea it was. I've done some dumb things as a kid, but you know, don't eat Tide Pods. How does that even become it's just fascinating, right? It just blows my mind. I think that honestly, I really think that is dumber than going to jail for like an innocent reason. Like, you know, what's like an innocent reason to go to jail? Somebody attacked someone on the street and you helped them fight and you attacked the guy, knocked them out, and you went to jail before you had a chance to really, you know, explain yourself. That's an innocent reason to go to jail. That's another innocent reason to go to jail. Like, and I don't mean innocent like you didn't do anything wrong, but like innocent like, you know, who was really hurt? Nobody was really hurt by it. Maybe like you broke your neighbor's like political sign or something like that. That's like I don't know. Is that innocent? Is it innocent to and I'm not saying which party or whatever. I'm not suggesting any party here, but you know, if someone was to destroy somebody's political sign because they disagree with it, I mean, is that innocent or is that somewhat heinous because it's a you know, destruction of property, of course, but like, was anybody really hurt? I don't know. I should stop talking. Huh. So anyway, let's keep building this up. We are building up our piece right here. Let's go from this toe. All right, so there we go. I feel like this foot is a little bit smaller than this foot, but it's still gonna look great. It's gonna look fantastic. Ferg a sign. Fudge a sign. Like, I met this one lady. She was probably like 4 foot, like super petite.
You're so loud right now.
One of the most like petite ladies you could possibly meet. She was like 4'6", and she was telling me how she went to jail for protests that she did in like 1970. And you know what's interesting? She's like totally successful. She became totally successful. She was like, you know, an active, but you know, she was a political protester back in like the 70s. And you know what? If somebody, you know, it's an interesting reason. Like, I don't know exactly why. Maybe she could have been lying. Maybe she never went to jail, you know? So let's see. What's another good reason to go to jail? If you see somebody messing with animals in person and you punch them in the face, excuse my language, and you get caught for it, that's a good reason to go to jail. I think more people should be not afraid of going to jail if it means good for society.
Alexa, set timer for 30 minutes. 30 minutes.
And I know that that's like hard to say. It's a really difficult thing to say because it's so subjective, right? Like, what's good, what's bad, you know, what should the limits be? You know, vigilante justice, we all know like what that can cause. As you can tell, I've actually never been to jail. Because otherwise, I would probably have a better idea of what actually is involved. So here we go. And can you, yeah, just put it down to thank you.
Yeah.
So Corey says it is not a place you want to be. You know what? I definitely don't. Yeah, jail is not a place you want to be. That's right. Why would anybody want to go there? Look at Corey being a voice of reason here. Everybody should listen to Corey, not me. So here we go. And let's go. I'm gonna go build in some of these details here. And bam. Let's go into here, and then here we go. We're gonna go with a nice warm. I love this STAEDTLER pencil here, by the way. No violence, people. All right. So, voice of reason, Corey, you have suddenly made this channel a positive influence on people. So, there we go. People, listen to Corey. All right. Let's go like this. Just creating, just tracing over what I've already done. Just tracing over. And coming down right here. Hmm.
Okay, I'm going to 3 stores. Hopefully I'll be back in an hour. And have a late dinner. Okay? You didn't hear me? Going to 3 stores.
Okay, you're going out?
3 stores. Late dinner.
Okay.
We're back in an hour.
Okay. All right, later, babe.
Later.
Later, babe.
Later.
Baby, baby.
Delicious.
Ooh, baby, baby. Baby, baby. All right. Voice of reason. Do not go to jail, please. And here we go. And here we go. You know, one thing that was interesting when I worked for Jordan Belfort was, so what Jordan Belfort, his new company, his current company, I guess, I don't know if it's still around, I'm sure it is. When I was working for him, I was selling his motivational speaking, sales training, events, things like that. And one thing that I found interesting was there would often be former convicts that would call, or that I would, that would sign up to hear more from his programs. And recovering convicts, I don't know the exact term, but I always thought it was interesting because there was a lot that they went through, and of course I didn't dig into what their crimes were. That wasn't part of the job. And it's interesting to hear some of the things that they would tell me, like they would say that, like, if you've been to prison, you're basically like in this club. I don't know if that's a fact, but for anyone who's curious, and of course, like Jordan Belfort, and he went to white collar prison, so I don't know. Like, obviously, that's not the same as like a super, super max, right? It's not the same experience, but I did find it quite an interesting experience to work at a company where a lot of callers, people that I would speak with, were actually, former convicts. They were trying to figure out how to get back on their feet, how to recover from, their crime that they, committed. And somehow I also connected with another guy who was a former convict. He was also a white collar criminal who, he's actually a motivational speaker now, and he helps former convicts recover from their. I'll even pull him up. I think it's interesting to learn about the life of former convicts. Let's see. Let me see if I can pull up his name. And he's very open about it. I'm not like putting anybody on blast. He's a motivational speaker, and he was on my podcast, actually. He was on a podcast that I ran quite a few years ago, and he's built this motivational speaking business, in helping people recover from going to prison. So let me see. Let me pull him up. Really interesting story. Craig Stanland. Craig Stanland, interesting guy. He went on my podcast before, but he also went to prison. so he doesn't really talk about what he did, so I'm not going to put that out there. But what I find is interesting is, you know, I've between who I worked for, Jordan Belfort, and, you know, my interview with this gentleman, and some of the stories I was hearing when I was listening to the people who would call in and their conversations, and those things, it's an interesting thing to have to come back from that. And, you know, I will say that in my opinion, there are some crimes that, you know, I will never want to associate with some people that have committed those crimes. But, you know, there are other crimes that I probably, well, as you could tell, I was willing to work for Jordan Belfort, so, you know, there's some crimes that I'm like, okay, they'll have to pay it all back, right? They'll figure it out. But I don't know, what does that say about me? Anybody here? Do they have any opinions on that? How do you feel about someone who would be willing to, who would willingly worked for a former convict? What does that say? I mean, you know, I'd probably work for Martha Stewart, honestly. If Martha Stewart gave me an opportunity to work for her, I'd work for her. Interesting thing. I don't think anybody, you know, I think a lot of people who have been to prison, you know, are open to like talking about their experiences. They talk about like, you know, talk about it on YouTube. But I rarely ever hear anybody actually be like what I'm talking about, just like, yeah. I mean, you know, there's so much going on from a you know, someone who has not experienced that. Anyway, interesting people. Or more so like interesting experiences that they go through that, you know, you either bounce back from or you allow it to define you for the rest of your life. And it's so fascinating to me how some people bounce back, like the people that I met, Craig Stanlin, Jordan Belfort, you know, how they're able to build careers after prison. That's a good name for like a business, careers after prison. That'd be a good name. But here's the other interesting part about working for that company. Not only would I be able to meet and speak with, well, I guess I really didn't meet them, but I spoke with them. You know, not only did I have the opportunity to speak with recovering convicts, but I also met the people that were like totally anti, like super hardcore, like unusually hardcore anti-crime. It's so unusual. Like so these people had to, in order for me to talk to these people, they had to sign up to Jordan Belfort's program. They didn't do the paid program, but they actually had to sign up in order to like, you know, want to hear more from his company. And what I just thought was mind-blowing was how many people would sign up, and then I would call them, and all they would do would just like yell into the phone about like how he's such a horrible person, and just like go on and on about it. And then, you know, a lot of times I would just hang up on them. But yeah, I would literally just hang up on them sometimes. But it was just interesting to think that, you know, there's people that sign up for that stuff just so they can like share a piece of their mind. And you know what? I get maybe some people, I highly doubt that these people were affected by Jordan, but maybe, I don't know. I don't know. Was it the right thing to do to hang up on somebody who's yelling and like ranting about how horrible your boss is. I don't know, but I did. Should anybody take verbal abuse over a telephone? I don't think so. I would disagree. So there we have it. That is the final word there. So anyway, that was my experience working for Jordan Belfort. Mostly positive. Mostly positive. He is definitely a mercurial figure. And, you know, he has a huge following, a very cult-like following. But, yeah, that's right. So here we go. We're going to go bring this and then bring this up right here. And we're going to bring a shadow down. We're just defining some of the shadow areas here right now. And let's go up. And was that a price? That probably still have a criminal mindset? Which ones probably still have a criminal mindset? Oh, the ones that say like you know, once you've been to prison, there's like a group. Yeah, I mean probably. I don't know. I mean, I didn't try to like, you know, analyze these people. It's really not my place, especially, you know, if they're a potential customer and, you know, they've come out of prison. I didn't need to know more details. You know, that's not something I really needed to dig into. None of my business, really. But really gave me insight into, you know, what that could potentially be like. So, anyway, I don't know. Working for Jordan Belfort. Yep. Interesting fella. Interesting fella. And here we go. Oh, the ones talking crap about my boss. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. This What happened to this thing? I had it in the perfect position earlier. Oh, I gotta fix this. Oh no, I was saying they were talking crap about my boss. Or at the time, they were talking crap about Jordan Belfort. Like, they would just rant and just, like, yell in my ear about why would you work for him? What's wrong with you? He did bad things. I'm making fun of people. But anyway, I guess if anybody who's watching this has ever been to prison and you need help recovering and you're looking for some good resources to, you know, rebuild a life, we just shared a couple right there. Jordan Belfort, as well as Craig Stanland. And I don't really know anyone else, but, you know, there's probably another speaker or a motivational guy who, you know, does that stuff. So let's go up to this piece right here. Let's actually start adding in the shadows. And here we go. I'm going to go into here. And let's go. Bam. And there we go. So we're going to paint in here, draw into here. It's really hard to do these. One criminal would talk, yeah. Oh, I think you misinterpreted what I was saying. So I was saying that there's some people who called who were former convicts, and then there's other people that would call that were, like, you know, super uptight about it, and they were upset. So they purposely, these are two different groups of people, right? There was the group that signed up because they were trying to look for help to recover from prison, life after prison, and then there were those that called just so they can share a piece of their mind about, you know, Jordan Belfort. It's totally two different groups of people there. Two different groups of people. Just two totally different groups of people. Yeah, I can't say I ever had like someone who was, you know, who actually went to prison and was like, you know, trying to bash Jordan Bell for it. I don't think anyone did that. As far as I remember, as far as I know, again, like, you know, I couldn't really dig into, you know, I don't really know everything about everyone. You know, maybe there were a couple people that were like projecting or something. I don't know, but all right, here we go. We are building up our pencil, our feet here. Any feet lovers, this is for you. Should I leave the construction lines? Well, I guess I don't have a choice because they're not coming off, so yes. Here we go. All right. These actually take quite a while. Let's see how this looks. All right. I need a, let me go with a 2B here. 2B or not 2B. Whether 'tis noble to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, or to bear the whips and throngs of something something. All right, here we go. So we're gonna go with the lighter pencil now. Alexa off. Let's see, it becomes much brighter. It's much brighter because the light reflects on it, so it's like harder to see in this image, but let's go into this toe here. Should keep a pretty dark pencil for this part right here. I'm gonna use a pretty dark pencil right into here. And we're gonna go, let's go like this, right here. And there we go. So building up our shadows. Building up our shadows here. Let's go. And let me sharpen this pencil. This pencil's not giving me the edges that I need. So we're going to use our Faber-Castell. It's a wonderful little sharpener here. Oh yeah, and it's Saturday. Happy Saturday, everybody. I know everybody who's not watching is out doing cool things, and everybody who is watching is cooler than the cooler people that are doing cool things. It's cooler than the cool people doing the cool things. But art is amazing. Love art. Make art. Honestly, I do have to ask myself, I'm like, you know, what am I doing? I'm sketching, I'm drawing, but what is that, you know, what is what is that really giving me? Right? Like, what's the purpose? It's important to know why you do things, you know? It's important to know what makes you pursue creative activities like artwork. Otherwise, you get lost, you know? You could get lost in just doing it, and then one day you're going, and it's like, what was I doing that all for? You know, it's good to keep track and, you know, just be aware of, you know, what you're doing these things for. And here we go, just sketching in. You know what? Let's do this with our 2B here, and we're going to go across. Actually, no, this needs to go a little bit further. It's amazing how much darkness you lose when your pencil's not sharp. And actually, you know what? We're going to bring this, a couple of sharp points across right here. Nice, confident, bold lines there. And then we're going to do go in with the 2B and just aim to and that's actually pretty nice. I like that. Let's go in with a little bit darker just into these shadows right as we get closer. Right as we're closer, like give it like a better transition, and then a little bit lighter on that transition, and lighter, and help that transition to work a little better right there. There we go. That's a little bit of a better transition. Cool, perfect, wonderful, fantastic, done. All right, so let's grab another pencil. I haven't been using this one, but we're gonna go for an F. We're gonna use our F somewhere. We're gonna use this F. And use this for like a highlight point. And this should probably be right here. We probably need a 2B. Go for a 2B right here. We're going to go darker to this section right here. Go nice and dark with our shadow right there. And one thing that I'm curious about is making this like soft. This area just like looks soft. And you know what we gotta do? We gotta do a 2B. And just gotta go, let's go with an F right here. We need just a little outline. Some to like separate the nails and everything. So let's go with a nice dark color here. And we're going to go right here. And we're going to go with a 2B. And we're going to go around. But we want to leave just a little bit of a highlight, a white highlight around. And we're gonna go let's see how this looks. Let's look how it looks. It's alright. You can see I like how you can see the dimension, the density of it, but still needs a lot of work on the shading element of it. And here we go. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And let's build this up. Let's go with, we're going to shade in with this color and just start, we're going to build on top of it. So we're going to go, and then here we go. And we're going to go across. Let's go like this. And let's go bring in our darker pencil here. And let's grab our 2B. Is this the 2B? Yes, we're going to grab our 2B here. And how do I feel about that? I don't know how I feel about that. Something off. This part right here. Something is off here. It's this piece. All right, you know what? We're going to take our 2B pencil here, and we're just going to start shading in around. This way we can, actually, let's go down here. And here we go. I'm gonna go bring this straight across right here. Let's go, bam. And here we go. We're going to use a little bit of darker pencil. We're going to go into our 6B right here. And we're going to give this the shadow down here. Give our shadow right there. Give another shadow right here. No, I don't want it to be too dark. I'm going to go back to the 2B. I guess a little mix up won't hurt. A little bit of mixing the two shades. I'm actually surprised at how long it takes to finish each of these. Let's see how it looks. Oh, I keep doing that. Let's go. So one thing that happens when I do it up here is the light reflects on it, so it looks really light. But if we look at it from a little bit of an angle, you know, we're starting to get some of it. I think this toe looks a little clunky. Yeah, it doesn't have the same angle as the other one. How can I fix that? I don't know. Let's keep working it. As long as we keep working it, trust the process, believe in ourselves. Believe in yourself. Believe in yourself. And let's go back to the title of this live stream. The title of this live stream is How to Make Art Even If You Don't Feel Creative. And it's a little bit, it's a little bit of a satirical. I'm like saying it seriously, but like also criticizing the idea that anyone would feel not creative. You know, creativity is within every single one of us. Creativity, everyone is creative in some way. Maybe you're good at picking gifts for people. Maybe you're good at coming up with like really goofy drinking games. Maybe you're really good at coming up with like on the spot jokes that nobody really gets, but you know, it makes you laugh inside. Maybe you're really creative at cooking. Maybe you just have some brilliant shower ideas that you never tell anyone about for whatever reason, right? Like everybody can be creative. And that's the basic premise of, you know, the title of this live stream is that everyone can be creative. But in the off chance that you don't feel creative, which the truth is you are creative, but in off chance, or I guess there's probably a lot of people who don't feel creative, so there's not an off chance, but in the chance that you don't feel creative, you know, the truth is you are, but if you don't, then just copy something, right? Copy artwork. Now, copy ethically, you know, source your materials ethically. Don't, you know, take another artist's artwork and then totally steal the idea and then, you know, not give credit or like whatever, right? Like use your judgment, be ethical. I know people are going to totally take what I just said and not be ethical. Again, I feel like I have to repeat the word be ethical when copying. Like right now, what I'm doing is copying and I feel creative, but this is totally an uncreative exercise. Also, all of this stuff is actually in the public domain. I'm not a lawyer. This is not law advice, but you should go look up Charles Bargue, public domain, and you will see what I'm talking about. But at the end of the day, ultimately, it is up to you to decide what you feel is ethical. And by the way, people have been doing master studies since the beginning of like artistic schooling. You know, these are master. This is like a master. I guess I don't like to call it a master copy because I don't really copy it exactly. But ultimately, like, you know, it is pretty much what it is. But still, you know, call it what you will. You know, be creative. If you're feeling like you're stuck, lacking creativity, like even if you're a writer or something, like if you're a writer and you feel like you're lacking creativity, go write. So Vincent van Gogh is also known as a beautiful writer. You've probably heard of a quote from Vincent van Gogh about love for art and how he would rather paint somebody's eyes than to paint nothing or to paint a landscape, because the eye is the true depth of humanity, right? Like, he's written stuff like that. But did you also know that Vincent van Gogh copied? He wrote and rewrote stuff from books excerpts from books and stuff. He was such a great copier that the world just doesn't know. And then eventually he came up with his own thing. You know, his own thing, given that it's arguable that some of his own thing was actually just a combination of a lot of other people's ideas, a lot of other artists. You know, a little bit of pointillism, a little bit of impressionism, a little bit of Gauguin's synthetism, all sorts of different ideas. A little bit of Toulouse-Lautrec's free movement, a little bit of Japanese art print, flat art print, but beautiful colorization, right? So Vincent, you know, got a bunch of ideas from all over and then synthesized them into some of the world's greatest masterpieces. And, you know, as much as he was a great painter, he was also an amazing writer, a very sensitive writer. But how did he do that? He copied. He copied a lot of people. And he would copy excerpts. Some of his early subject matter was the Bible. He was very religious. And I'm not going to get into a religious conversation, so don't worry, but I'm just sharing the truth, the researchable facts about Vincent van Gogh. And he was really religious, and he would copy excerpts. I don't know, from the Bible or something, but he was incredibly religious. Before he became an artist, he wanted to be a evangelical. He was a evangelical preacher or something. He was going into coal mines and trying to spread, be an evangelist. So that's what Vincent was working on. But you got to think his commitment to his religion probably helped carry him through his conscientiousness and dedication to his religion probably manifested itself later on as he became an artist, into being an artist, right? His commitment, his dedication, you got to be super Vincent, according to history, was super intense. He was a rabid man, a feral guy when it came to painting. Manic at times. And where does that energy come from? When you really think about it, where does energy come from, right? You have to be so committed to something. You got to love something so much to struggle through all the things that he struggled with and get so good as he did. But how do you find that level of energy, right? There was times when he painted 3 paintings a day or something. At one point, he painted 1 painting every day for 2 years or something like that. I don't know. I probably have those numbers wrong, but still, you get the idea that there's an intense level of energy in some artists that where do they find that energy? Where do they find that level of creativity? And it's a very powerful question. It's a very helpful question to answer too. Some people just got it, you know. Some people have a purpose, and honestly, I feel like Vincent. Again, I don't want to get too spiritual or religious, but especially in the first few years, in his first years as an artist, like, you know, 1880, 1870 to 1885, or 1879 to like 1885, you know, I think it was his exercises as an evangelical that helped carry him, you know, that helped him have that energy. He was like super committed to his religion. Now, you know, like later on, he fell off, you know, because he fell in love with a prostitute, and the world basically shunned him and her. They kind of like disregarded her, and, you know, he started questioning, you know, this whole, and again, you know, I don't want to get too religious here. I'm just sharing a little bit of history of Vincent van Gogh from what I've learned. You know, history can be interpreted, but, you know, he fell in love with a prostitute, CN. A lot of people know this. And, you know, he began to question his values because the church saw that as like, you know, a horrible, horrible thing, that he would, you know, be in a relationship with this woman who, you know, already had a child out of wedlock or whatever, right? Like, I don't know that exact situation, but interesting to think, you know, he eventually questioned his, you know, religion. But, you know, fortunately, he still had that energy, and he painted relentlessly until his very last days. So, really interesting career, really interesting life. Very fantastic. But hey, you know, every I think artist that did really well has definitely done artwork into the night. So here we go. Let's see how the shading's coming along. I think this shading looks a little bit weird, but that's okay. Let's go. So anyway, I don't remember what the original thought was there. Oh yeah, copy, right? Like, Vincent van Gogh copied things. And honestly, I feel like if Vincent didn't spend all that time copying drawings, copying sketches, copying paintings, he probably wouldn't have gotten as good. Honestly, he probably would not have been as good and come up with something so unique if he didn't study so many different ideas. And let's find a nice dark piece right here. Yes, be creative, people. Find your creativity. You copy things. Now, again, I want to say this, copy ethically, right? Copy ethically. I'm not saying to just copy and steal, although there's a book that was written that said great artists steal, but if you actually read the book, it's not about actual stealing. It's about how you take ideas and make them your own. Ideas that already exist. So there we have it. And we're gonna go, let's go with a lighter pencil here. This is messing with my wrist here. But we're gonna go 2B, 6B to 2B here. And let's go right into here. And here we go. So we're gonna go down like this. I'm trying to figure out how to make these toes feel more natural. This toe doesn't feel totally natural to me. Let's see. When I go, if I can bring this down a little bit. I need a better eraser. I need an eraser with a point. I need to invest in one of those. Let's just redraw that. We're gonna redraw this. And let's see this up close. We're gonna take another peek at it. Getting a little better. Working on some pencil drawings here. So we're gonna come right into here. And let's do our 2B pencil rather than our 6B. We're gonna create this 2B shadow right into here. And let's go right into here. And let's go like here. And let's go with our 6B. Bring out our 6B pencil right over here. Bring out a 6B and we're gonna go right into this toe. This toe right here, and we're gonna go bam. Bring that down. That's gonna be a little lighter than the other ones. And let's find our nail here. So we're gonna go with the nail nice and then let's go find our 2B or not 2B. The question. Our 2B here. So let's go 2B. We're just finding some nice shadow, bringing this down. It's going to go towards pretty much the edge of the toe here. We're going to go right across. And then let's carve up into here. And let's see, we are gonna go in with a darker 6B right here. So it's been 2 hours. It took 2 hours to, actually, you know what? I worked on the other one for like 15 minutes, but it's taken mostly about 2 hours to do this one. An hour and a half, I guess, would be the better estimate here. Just get some more confident lines down here. And we're going to go down here. And this one actually needs to get carved up. And let's see how we can remove this area right here. Gosh. What a pointless eraser. I can't even like get into this little corner right here. Just kidding. This is a really good eraser. It's actually a really good eraser, but really good. Like the actual erasing ability of this pencil or this eraser is really good. But it's just like the shape is very inconvenient for detail work, and I think, you know, that's not the eraser's fault. That's my fault for getting the wrong eraser for the job. You know, the whole point, this eraser, the right eraser to do the job, you know, you always want the right tool to do a job. You don't try to hammer something in with a screwdriver unless a screwdriver is all you had and use the back end. But ultimately, this piece right here is not, you know, this tool is not the best tool for this, because this eraser, you know, we don't have the point. You can't make it into the point. I think there's a special type of eraser that you shape into a point, and then you get these like little details. But overall, I think we're almost done. We are almost done here. Let me do some cross hatching. I want to do some cross hatching with an F. Let's do a cross hatching with an F pencil here. And let's try to, actually, you know what, let's go with a 6B, because the area around closest to the shadow needs to be a little bit darker. So we're going to add a little bit of shadow into here. And let's go carve right there. And let's see, where can we add some detail? We can add some extra shadow right here just to give it a little bit more dimension. And then up here, and maybe right there. And here we go. And then let's bring this down right here. And I wish I could actually erase away that part, but I don't think that's going to happen. So we're just going to have to keep this big toe like that. Keep a nice little big toe shape right here. And let's see where else we can add a little bit of definition into here. Just a little bit more shadow. And just a little bit more shadow along the outside here. Right there. This actually needs to be a lot darker. And even a little bit further up here. Just bringing down that. And let's see where we can... I think we can add a little bit of shadow into the top here. Let's see. And here we go. Maybe give some definition of some shadow around the side just to give it a little bit more dimension, density. And let's see, we're gonna go across in here. By the way, people, we're gonna wrap up in a minute here. I'm actually just gonna do a couple more shadows, but they're lighter shadows. Just a couple more details to really tighten this all up, bring it all together. And here we go. Lighter shadow going into there. And here, right out here, we need some shadow. So I want to use this pencil here. You know what this is? I have to adjust this because this is really curving over. And then let's see here. And let's go right around here. I'm just trying to see, we're near the end now. I just want to see if there's anything else I can darken just to create some extra contrast here. I think this shadow needs to be a little bit darker. That's okay. That's going to be in there. And then here we go. Whew. Let's make sure that this is right. So this tint is about above that toe. So that's accurate. And then let's see. This curves fairly accurate. And yeah, we're good to go. All right. So people, we have finished this other foot here. Let's see. Just going down into the details. Getting lost in these details. And this was so fun, people. This was so exciting to do something so basic as copying. Literally just copying. I like didn't do anything except talk and copy, and I feel creative. This is great. So isn't it wonderful that you could feel like an artist and you don't even have to like make up anything that has never been seen before. You don't even have to like be brilliant and just copy. Now, if you're misinterpreting what I'm saying, if you're upset by what I'm saying, go look at the beginning of this live stream. I think I clarify a lot of things. But if you just want to take my comments off based on what you heard just now, that's fine too. It's your duty to do that. But here we go. Just darkening some of this. I feel like I'm just working just to be extra right now. I almost feel like I don't want to stop. You know, they always feel like there's something else to do, but I know that at this point I really don't. There's really not that much more. So I'm just gonna add a little bit of like a light to extend on the outside of that toe. A little bit more. You know, I think these toes can have just a little bit more on the outside. A little bit more along the outside, just to give some more definition there. And what else can we really do? Here we go. And do we have a wonderful, wonderful drawing yet? Yes, we do. We've got a wonderful, wonderful drawing. What's going on? I'm finishing, actually. I'm actually going to finish this piece and call it a night. Let's take a look at it up closer because you can't really tell from a distance. Now, I will say this foot just looks really dirty. But you know what? That's cool. Dirty foot. Feet are meant to be dirty. All right? No one ever was successful and had clean feet. I will say this little thing, the toes are a little bit at a weird shape because this one needs to be a little higher. But other than that, I'm happy with it. So we're actually going to wrap up here, take a break, prepare, wrap up in the evening here. But hope you all enjoyed this session. I don't know, what everybody liked most about it, but this was fun. It is always exciting to be able to make something, right? doesn't everybody here like making things? I hope everybody here does like making things. I hope everybody here is enjoys finding the joys in just like simple acts like this, just copying, painting something, drawing something, even if it's not your own foot. Where is my lead holder? Ah, here we go. All right, so I'm gonna close up my lead holder here. Not bad. All right. It is superb, Omizu. Superb. Superb artwork. Here, sir. My artwork is superb. Alright, let's see. Oh, it's light, it's dark. It's light, it's dark. It's an illusion. So, I'm gonna put my supplies away. But hey, everybody, I don't know if Omizu is streaming, but if you want to go visit another stream, you can all pop over to Omizu's stream if he's streaming. I don't know if he is right now, but with that, I am going to call this a night. A good 2.5 hour drawing session, almost 2.5 hours. Hope everyone is able to get a full, like, is able to do not just art, but is able to get like a full, the full life. I want to talk about like the full life building idea. I once had a acting coach, and it was like a 4-hour class. A 4-hour acting class, and sometimes it could get a bit much, but it was a 4-hour acting class, and then of course we would do our scenes, but one thing that I always thought was interesting was he would always end with like a fitness, like general words on taking care of yourself. And, I think that it's really important to not just like do art and take care of your mind, but also full fitness as well. Dude, another butt for chair. I'm about to sign off here. By the way, one more thing, people. I deleted my Discord. I deleted my Discord app because anytime I have Discord, my app totally gets messed up, or my phone. So, yeah, I hope everybody here gets to be creative. I hope everybody here gets to take care of every area of your life. Mental, physical, spiritual, creative, relationship-wise, It's good to have all these things. So, with that, everybody, that's my message. Take care of all the areas of your life. Not just the creative, not just the financial, not just the spiritual, but like, everywhere. You can have it all. You can all have it all. And with that, take care, everybody. Good night. I mean, take care of like the most important things, right? If something's like an emergency, take care of it. But, you can all have it all. Good life. All right. Good night, everybody.